Emmanuel, which simply means, I love this word, God is with us. And when God is with us, we can replace our fear of what is in front of us with the faith in the God who is for us. Last week, I loved it. Pastor Jason illustrated this with his story of skydiving. Right? He fought off the fear of that initial jump out of the plane because he had faith that his instructor wanted to get him down safe, and he could. Today I want us to focus in on something else that I think the Christmas season and story can inspire us to replace. Right? To replace the chaos with some calm. The rat race with some restfulness. Replace the pent-up anxiety with some slow-down intentionality. Replace the stressed out with some silent night. Some stressed out with some be still and know. I've never felt the feeling, really, of jumping out of a plane after it soared to 11,000 feet. But when I heard that number, 11,000 feet, I was reminded of a time when I was probably the closest to that, where I summited up Mount Hood at 11,000 feet and got up to the top, and it was awesome. But after summiting Hood, I strapped on the snowboard onto my feet, and I pointed the nose down and that steep incline, and I just let go. I just went, and which was awesome at first. But the problem was, all of a sudden, before I knew it, I was going so fast, and suddenly I knew I was out of control. Like one wrong move, one wrong carve, and I am going to wipe out. Total yard sale everywhere. Fly off into a crevasse and die. I could see it. It's what we call terminal velocity, where you are accelerating to a point that's as fast as physics will allow you to go. Most of us can remember a time when we were running down a hill and we were going faster than our legs all of a sudden could even run. And you could feel yourself falling forward. That's terminal velocity. And it may be a rush for a few moments, but if you stay in it too long, you are going to crash. And honestly, that's what a lot of our Christmas seasons feel like, right? An endless free fall of activities and expectations and competitions and plates spinning in an ever-increasing and accelerating pace until we crash and we burn. Man, the only way that I survived the terminal velocity of barreling down Mount Hood that day was finding the opportunities to kind of turn my board a little bit. And then just kind of, which slows it down. And then you start to kind of pump the brakes by just carving it up against the mountain. And even taking little places where I could maybe even find a way to stop and breathe. Look back up the mountain where I came from and figure out where I was going next. If I had not done that, I am absolutely sure that I would still be on Mount Hood today, because I would be a skeleton in some crevasse somewhere, right? Well, as we continue to follow the story of the first Christmas season, young Mary teaches us to do the same thing in life. Last week we studied Luke chapter 1 of the angel's news to the young virgin that she was going to become pregnant. Not from a man, but miraculously from God, who had promised to send one, to send his son, to send his Christ into this world, to be born through her, coming into the world to be God with us, dwelling among us, teaching us, saving us, redeeming us forever. That was huge news to Mary. Big news. But to a young girl with a reputation as a good girl and engaged to a good guy with wedding plans already in motion, that news is actually scary news, debilitating, derailing news. But she faced her natural fears with a faith in her supernatural God, saying those famous words, "I am the Lord's servant. May it be to me as you have said. So be it." She stepped out in faith into the crazy free fall of faith. If anyone knew what terminal velocity felt like in life, It was Mary. But I want you to notice what she did next. Between the big news there in Nazareth and the big moment there in Bethlehem, she took a break. She got away. She went on retreat. She made a decision to intentionally choose rest. Flip open to Luke 1:39 is where we'll camp out real quick. It says, at that time, so after the big news, right, but before Bethlehem, at that time, it says, Mary got ready and she hurried off to a town in the hill country of Judea. In all of the craziness of the first Christmas season, God put it on Mary's heart to choose rest. Push the pause button, get away, went on retreat. We were made for rest. Between each day, our bodies were made to rest the night. Our work weeks were made for a weekend. Our normal days are made more bearable by the holidays. The work year has vacation days, right? A season of sowing is made complete by a season of harvesting. The cold of winter gives way to the warmth of summer. God wired everything and everyone in all creation to pause, to rest, to take breaks, to look up and notice God, to look around and notice each other. See, when we go full speed without physical rest, our physical health often suffers. When we go full speed financially into Christmas 2018, while we're still paying off the credit cards from Christmas 2017, our financial health suffers, doesn't it? And when we plow full speed ahead into life without taking pauses for spiritual rest, our spiritual health suffers too. You see, when God created the world in 6 days, he rested on the seventh, not because he was tired, but because rest is good. And in the garden, we were at such rest with God and with each other. I mean, think about it. We were naked and unashamed, right? It was R&R paradise. Mentally, physically, emotionally. I mean, but by Genesis chapter 3, we fell out. We fell out of that restful relationship with God and with each other when we chose our own ways over God's ways. And we entered into a life that was cursed with pain and toil and chaos and temporality and shame and separation from God and death. But from that very moment, there in Genesis chapter 3, even there in that great curse of Genesis 3:15, hid God's secret promise to send a seed of woman, a flesh and blood man born of woman who would reverse the curse by crushing the power of Satan, sin, and death, and who would make things right again. Bring back that relationship that we once rested ourselves in with God and with each other. But in the meantime, we still lived under the curse of the reality of work and toil and labor and pain in this broken world. Well, God chose a line of people among the seed of woman, among the human race. He chose the Hebrews, the descendants of Abraham. He chose to reveal himself and his ways to them so that they would reveal him to the rest of us. Interestingly, one of the first rules that he taught these people, one of the first in their Big Ten, was for each and all of us to intentionally choose rest. Set apart a Sabbath day, a day to take a break from your regular work, a day to take time to look up and notice God. Look around and notice his precious gifts of life all around you. God called that day holy. One of the first things that God called holy weren't people, weren't places, it was time. He wanted people to take the time to rest themselves. Along the way, through places like Psalm 46:10, right? God also spoke to the specific need deep within ourselves to rest our hearts, quiet our souls, calm our minds, still our spirits, intentionally and regularly choose to be still and know that I am God. Kids, I am here. I will be exalted in all the nations, in all of the earth. See, I am in control. Be still and know that. Be still and know me. Life can get crazy, can get out of control. You got to learn to regularly slow down. Take breathers. Take Sabbath rests. They're there for you. And so like God put it on Mary's heart during that first Christmas season to intentionally take a break, get away, I pray God puts it on your heart during your Christmas season to regularly and intentionally slow your roll. Slow yourself down. Slip away into deeper thoughts, deeper gratitude, deeper conversations, deeper joy with Him and with others too.